What does the future hold for the Lakers after a first-round exit in the playoffs? Welcome in, everybody. My name is Dean Frank. I'm here with Dean Sports Report today. Super excited to talk some Lakers ball. I have on Ryan Ward, who is a Lakers reporter. Ryan, thanks for hopping on, man. I know it's been a long time coming. It's great to see you.
All right, no problem, man. No problem.
Let's do it. So obviously, the Lakers 50-win season ended up third in the West. Obviously, a huge Luka trade as well. And going into the finish of the regular season, I thought we could win it all. And I think a lot of Lakers fans did. I think there's definitely some bias that comes into play. But after losing in the first round, it's like kind of feels like in a way we should have seen this coming. I guess just very general, let's start it off. Like what went wrong for the Lakers this playoff?
Well, it was pretty much everything that people saw in the regular season, just on another level entirely in the playoffs. It was defensive deficiencies, the size. I think those are the two biggest ones, right? They couldn't play defense the way that they wanted to play defense, and they just couldn't contend with the bigs that Minnesota had, or their defense getting super intense and like up in them. Like Reeves was basically taken out of the series completely. He couldn't move the way he wanted to move. I think he still averaged like 15 or 16, but he just wasn't the same guy. It was a bummer. But then there was that talk of him having the toe injury or whatever. So I'm sure that's got a lot to do with it. Anybody who's played basketball, you stub a toe and you're not going to be the same dude, especially
Exactly.
if you depend on his kind of quickness. So it was just kind of the perfect recipe of everything that people saw ahead of time, like you said, just bleeding over into the playoffs. And I've said it a bunch of times on my podcast. I'm like, it's a different level of play in the playoffs, and that's exactly what we've seen for pretty much every series in the playoffs. Is the intensity's higher, the defense you don't have the same space at all, and it's very physical. And if you can't contend with all those, you're kind of screwed because a team is going to get to know you really well game after game, right? They're going to say, okay, well, this worked. Let's just keep doing it until it stops working. And if we have to pivot, we pivot. And then occasionally get, series that goes 7, like was it Clippers Nuggets and then Warriors Houston.
Yep.
But it's a game of like, endurance and just in stamina, and being healthy helps, right? And in shape, which I know JJ harped on at the end there, which I thought was kind of like a subtle shot at Luka, right? Because who else is he talking about? Everybody else seemed like in good shape.
Definitely no. It was wild seeing Ant just like push around LeBron in that one little clip. Like the
Right.
intensity was definitely there. And as much as Lakers fans want to say the size was our biggest problem, I don't think we scored over 20 points in like a fourth quarter in the whole series. And
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
definitely it was a bunch of different factors. And again, even just saying, with Austin Reeves, like him putting up 15 as being a third piece, like isn't even the worst thing, but it's just like in the regular season, we saw him averaging over 20, and like that was just a key piece. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's almost as crazy people saying like, should we trade him? And it's like, dude, like
Yeah,
he
it
had the
happens.
yeah, no, I think obviously the postseason is a whole different animal, and it was tough. I think it'll be interesting seeing the Wolves move on now because if they're able to beat the Warriors easily, it's like okay, we lost to a good team, but in this case, it really did feel like the better team won. And as much as I hate to say
Mm-hmm.
it, I think it's so. That's why it's always interesting now. With the Lakers in the past couple of years, it's been let's rebuild and let's kind of build a whole new team. Like I know last year wasn't too much of a difference, but ever since that 2020 championship, it's like each season was a whole rebuild. And I think
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see like the team going into the season was obviously kind of centered around AD and like AD being the new guy going forward. And I think that was the main reason why with the Luka trade, obviously, 100 out of 100 times you're taking Luka, but the
Mm-hmm.
team wasn't really built around Luka. So I think now that we have an offseason to go into, what key positions and just factors do you think is needed to build around Luka? Because as much as sure he might be a little bit out of shape and he was definitely getting blown by um, on defense, it's kind of like when he can average 30 points, it's like you will take that. Like you'll take Luka
Mm-hmm.
being able to score whenever he wants, and maybe he'll get blown by a couple of times. That's why you kind of got to build around him. So, what key pieces or just positions do you think need to be focused on?
Well, obviously, number one is a center, like a consistent lob threat. Like I mean, in retrospect, Mark Williams was kind of perfect. Not defensively, obviously, but for that lob threat and be able to put up points and be another threat on the floor offensively, because it basically just came down to three guys, right? And
Right.
then Rui kind of popped off towards the end there, but that got overshadowed just by how everybody else was playing. But you're so right about Luka there. Luka's defense, like being as bad as it is, only truly gets noticed when he struggles offensively. Because then you're like, well, okay, what are you bringing to the table if you're not doing what you normally do, right? And then gets just a huge spotlight put on the fact he's getting blown by Ant like every damn play.
Right.
But I'd say big, and then I'd say kind of 3-and-D wings, right? Like if you can get guys like a copy of kind of Dory Finney-Smith, right? Somebody who he is capable of playing defense and he's capable of hitting consistent threes, and just kind of duplicate that guy 2 or 3 times, then I think you'd be all right. Because I think he's got a player option, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't
believe we
dug
have
into the contracts yet,
right.
but yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't scoff at bringing him back. I think he's good. I think it's just I think a lot of people, especially with the Lakers, cover them for so long. I see these trends, right? It's like fans want that excitement, that thrill, like that the Kobe Shaq Lakers, like the eras where it was just exciting every time. So anytime there's this hint of like, oh my God, we may have that piece, that next thing. Like when they got Luka, everybody's freaking out. I freaked out too. I didn't believe it. But then I put it in perspective. It was like, yeah, this is not a win now move. This is a win, a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years down the road move, right? Because these guys, they're just thrown together, all of them. I mean, Finney Smith, don't connect. They didn't have much time playing together. And then so one thing I've noticed over the past couple of years is just practices are just don't happen anymore. I saw more practices in the postseason than I saw all season long, which is crazy. They just don't do it. So how the hell are you supposed to get to know your guys?
Right.
How is JJ supposed to implement his, philosophy or what he wants to do? It's almost like thrown together before games or, shoot arounds or whatever. It seems flawed. They can't hone down on things. And then because I really noticed it because it was literally like, I remember one stretch was 4 days of practice. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But they're making up for lost time. And even Luka mentioned it. He says, like, yeah, we just didn't practice. We didn't have time to get to know each other. And it was obvious, right? Because the spacing, everything was just different in the postseason. It was like night and day. And if you didn't see it coming, you weren't paying attention, right? Because it was pretty obvious. It's just they had these moments of brilliance from Luka dropping like 45 on Dallas, and then just having offensive explosions was kind of overshadowed what was going on. And then there's teams that were resting star players constantly at that final stretch, so that also kind of inflated what the Lakers were doing. But I mean, the good thing is, the thing that the Lakers fans should be thinking about right now is the future is bright. They have a piece that they can build around for a decade, probably, right? Like, I don't know how his body's going to hold up. Obviously, he's got things he needs to change and all that, or work on at least. But it's a promising future. That's all you can ask for right now.
No, for sure. I think that the starting five that we finished with, with LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Rui, and Dorian Finney-Smith, like had barely played any time together in the regular season. So it was kind of just like, like you said, thrown into there. And like when you're playing the whole entire game, I know JJ's kind of been getting wrecked for that. It's like it's tough to build chemistry.
That was weird, man.
I agree. And I think, as much as it's fun to talk these hypotheticals and build these super teams, like Giannis is coming to Lakers this offseason. I think rebuilding around Luka needs to be the main priority. And the Lakers played best when, we have 6, 7, 8 guys who can come up, like the extra couple guys who can come off the bench and give us some buckets. Like during the regular season, it's like anytime that, DFS coming off the bench, Gabe Vincent had like over 10 points, like it was pretty clear that we were going to win the game. And in the playoffs, it just wasn't shown. I mean, we only played those
Yeah.
5 guys going down the stretch. It's like we need to build around Luka now versus trying to get someone like Giannis. But as fun as it is, I think, whether it's free agency or just trade rumors, is there anyone specifically as a big man that you're looking at this summer that, think would be an ideal piece?
I like Steven Adams, but I don't think he's enough, right? Like I think you got to get 2 guys kind of like that, right? I think Miles Turner would be perfect, like absolutely perfect. But I think that's probably a stretch too. He probably wants too much money, especially because I think he's balling out right now, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken. Um,
Adams was too.
oh
like
yeah, but not like
yeah.
Turner. Like Turner could stretch the defense and just kind of do everything you need, right? He's a rim
Uh-huh.
protector. He's experienced in the playoffs. Like he's got a little bit of everything. But Adams, like he goes to the free throw line and it's it's over. Like they did the hack Adams or whatever. Yeah. But I like him. I love that guy. He's sharper than I thought too. I've got him a couple times in a post game scrum at Staples or Crypto or whatever. But I didn't really hear him talk because those scrums are kind of messy in the hallways or whatever. But the other night when he was talking and some reporter asked him a question about playoff risers or people like rising to the occasion during the playoffs. And his description of it, I was like, holy crap, this guy's pretty smart. I mean, he's really sharp. So you get that on top of what he was talking about. He knows his basketball. He knows his role. He doesn't play outside of it. He's gigantic. Like he takes up so much space. He's so physical, and he just does his job. I think that's a perfect kind of guy that the Lakers could use. But I mean, if I'm ranking them, I'm going, Turner first, then Adams. Oh, man, I just did a whole list on this stuff too. But those 2 stuck out to me the most. If you can somehow get those guys together. I mean, Nas Reed would be great, but there's no way he's leaving Minnesota.
Right.
Which might be the same case with Turner or somebody else, throws a huge contract to Turner in the offseason. But I mean, ideally that'd be awesome.
LeBron would have to take a pay cut too to get one of these bigger guys, which will be interesting to look at. Miles Turner would be a perfect option. I know we were looking at him earlier in the season. I think
for the last few years, 5 years, that guy's been linked to the Lakers at least.
No, I
just never happened.
Be interesting, maybe getting like a Brooke Lopez coming back, maybe a Clint Capella who also lost his starting spot. Just a couple options out there. I think it's going to be interesting because do we want to kind of create a trade package to get maybe a top 20 guy in the league, someone like a Bam Adebayo that could work, but at the same time, it's like again we'd be losing our pieces, we'd be losing some of these younger guys, and we'd kind of be back to square one in the rebuilding stage. So I think I love the idea of getting, someone who knows their role, someone who can play their role, top 50 guy in the league, and we keep our core pieces with, Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui. I would love to keep Dalton Knecht. I think, he's a baller. I understand why he didn't really get too much time because he is another, defensive kind of threat there to lose. But I guess role players wise, is there anyone else who you think like, we need to keep him? Like Jordan Goodwin, is he a must keep? Like there were a bunch of guys that kind of had moments within this season, but I guess there was no other than our top 3. Like you can even say Rui was kind of inconsistent. I mean, he doesn't always show up when we need him to. Like he could put up 20 whenever he wants, but at the same time, it's like we obviously need to fix something if we want to get out of the first round in the playoffs.
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with inconsistent. I think everybody outside of LeBron, Luka, and Reeves was inconsistent, right? Like that's the problem. But there are those guys did show flashes. Like Gabe Vincent showed flashes at times. I love Goodwin. I love his attitude, and I think that guy would come on the cheap. So that might be easy, and he addresses the defensive side in the backcourt, right? So you need guys like that. They're not easy to find these days. Don't connect. I do get the sense that I haven't heard anything, but I get the sense that they'll probably float him out there again as a trade bait because it's either going to be Connect or Reeves, I think. And I can't believe it's crazy how quickly things turn in LA, right? Because all of a sudden Reeves went from he's the best third option in the NBA to get him out of here, he's trash. Like within like weeks, which was the way kind of fans react to things. But then again,
toxic. it's a little
Yeah,
toxic.
just a little bit.
It's win it all or nothing. So I
Well,
understand
it's a
it, but
lot of passion, but at the same time, it's kind of crazy talk a lot of the time too, because they just get so pissed off. They want something to happen so fast, and they put some guy up on a pedestal, and he underperforms, and it's like, well, we'll get him out of here as fast as possible. And that's part of the Lakers' problem, I think, over the years is
yeah.
their solutions are always to make trades rather than building organically. It's like they don't have the patience to do it. But you look at all the teams that are successful in the playoffs right now, they're all organic teams,
Mhm.
right? Like you got Minnesota, Golden State outside of Butler, organic for the
Nuggets,
most part. The
Nuggets,
Nuggets, yeah,
Celtics.
OKC's like the perfect example. And that's
Yeah,
Boston too, but they got Porzingis and Drew Holiday, so those are pretty big pieces.
yeah,
Uh, but you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Their star players are homegrown. They were drafted by their teams,
Mhm.
and now they become well. So I guess Shea too. Shea was a trade too. So,
Yeah, that's what I was
but
thinking. But
the rest of OKC
the idea
is
is
pretty
there.
much yeah. But the Lakers just won't do it. Anytime a young guy, gets any kind of value, he's on the trade block. Look at
Yeah.
Dalton Connect. He was in the rookie of their conversation for what, like a month, and then he dropped off a little bit, and he's instantly on the trade market. And they tried to move him, and they're doing the
How
same thing with probably still do the same thing with Reeves.
how much of that do you think is LeBron's influence? I mean, obviously he only has a couple years left. I mean, maybe just the next season. I think he would obviously announce it and kind of make a whole farewell tour out of it. I think so. I think we have a
Oh
year or
yeah,
two left, and obviously like his younger son Bryce might be one and done after Arizona, could end up in the league as well. So I guess how many years do you think LeBron has left, and how much of an influence do you think building a team around LeBron? Because when you have LeBron on a team, I mean, he's 40 years old. It's win it all, or it kind of was a waste of a season. So like, I do
mm.
understand that impact where it's like you want players that have proven that they can win. I mean, getting someone like Gabe Vincent, I think that was the idea. Like with the Heat, he showed that he could hoop in the biggest moments in the playoffs. But it's like I guess he was injured that first year, but it's like time is kind of ticking, and I get
Mm.
Rob Pelinka for wanting to win now, but at the same time, it's like we do have to start building for the future. We have Luka, who should hopefully be here for the rest of his career in the next decade. So it's like, do we pretend like LeBron's not here and start building around Luka, or do we get these key pieces that win might be better for a win now?
Well, I think my guess is they've been trying to get off LeBron for a couple of years now. Not trade him or whatever, but they just having him on the team kind of it limits what they can do to improve. And the Luka move, which no one saw coming and still is ridiculous, it was kind of signaling like, hey, look, yeah, we are transitioning into another era. I think even LeBron said that the other day.
Yeah,
Like somebody asked whether he tried to convince Luka to stay or sign the
that's
extension.
not
And he
his
said
deal.
that's not about me or something like that, which I've never heard him say in his whole
Yeah,
life.
usually
but
always.
oh yeah, seriously. Even the Met Gala tweet today, I was like, dude, really? Like we needed to know you weren't going to the Met Gala? Like what? Who cares?
Yeah,
But
no, I mean, a lot of people care though. That's the thing. With LeBron, it's like there's the side of it that everyone loves him. He's a goat and all that, which I am on that side. But then there's also the
yeah.
hater side that will hate on everything he does. So I think he's kind of at the same time. It's like he definitely took a step back this year, and it was interesting to see. With
Maybe the
Luca
last
coming
couple of
in.
years.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Luca. He's 40 years old. He's human.
Well,
So
yeah. It makes sense. It
yeah.
makes sense. It's just what cracks me up about LeBron, or at least the people that follow LeBron, is that whenever he makes a mistake, they say his age. And
Mhm.
whenever he does something good, they say his age. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you make up your mind? Like, well, which way can he make no mistakes? Can he do no wrong?
Mhm.
He's incredible. He's an all-timer for sure. I've got Kobe and MJ above him, but that's my opinion because I'm more old school, right? Like
Yeah.
got Magic Johnson in the background, Shaq, Kobe, Jordan right there. You know what I mean? I'm
There you go.
just different era. So I could totally understand you growing up and loving him and all that. But um I
Well,
just
first of all, I did not. I hated him before he was on the Lakers. Kobe was like my puppy's name is Kobe. Like that's my guy.
oh yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, it's weird to say, but like LeBron has been here for a minute now, so it's like I
Right.
guess I've
It
kind
is
of
weird to say.
I've
Yeah.
grown into the LeBron fandom, but it wasn't always like that for sure.
Yeah, well, I was like that with Kobe in the beginning too. I didn't like
Yeah.
Kobe the first two years, especially after the Utah air balls. I was so
Oh.
pissed because I was a big Nick Van Exel guy. I was like, why the hell is he not getting the ball? Who's this rookie taking these shots?
Yeah, yeah,
But then he just, he grew on me and he really turned into kind of an inspiration for me. So, and there were tons of other millions of others, right? So, but yeah, it's a tricky situation that I think Palenka has really struggled with over the last couple of years. Like what I think that's why he was so happy to make this kind of home run move with Luka because now
Mhm.
the future is set no matter what LeBron does. But the
Right,
thing is, LeBron opts in and he's still got a no trade clause. He's going to control wherever he goes, right?
right.
I mean, brilliant businessman in that sense. Like he's always been able to control wherever he goes. He never gives that power to anybody else. And I honestly thought he was seriously considering getting traded to Golden State, right? But that didn't happen for whatever reason. I think Rich Paul said something like he was advised how bad that would be, how it would look on his legacy or whatever. And LeBron's kind of all about his legacy at this
Yeah.
point. Um,
That would have, yeah,
but
that would have been a shock. I think, I mean, at this
it'd be
point in his
crazy.
career, I mean, he has
Yeah.
a couple seasons left. Like, there's no way he leaves, but he does. It'll be interesting because he either has to sign the contract and lose some money, or keep the option. And I'm not the biggest contract guy. I think he'll stay though. I think he loves being around LA. I do think you're right though that Palinka is taking that next step,
Yeah.
surrounding himself around Luca. And yeah, last question I wanted to ask because it's been a little controversial. I know, losing in the first round in the playoffs when you have LeBron and Luca on your team is obviously a disappointment. But this was
Mhm.
JJ Redick's rookie year as a head coach. The Lakers finished with 50 wins, third place in a Western Conference that is, super competitive. What grade would you give JJ Redick just overall on the year he had as a coach?
I'd say regular season, I would have given him a B, and postseason, I would have given him probably a D. Like he just some of those decisions, and one thing I did fear with JJ from the beginning was that he's a fiery guy, an emotional guy, a passionate guy, and that can benefit you greatly, but can also be your Achilles heel because you just take things too personally and you lash out, and it can screw up your decision making. And I think that's exactly what happened in the playoffs. He got a lot of crap for doing the whole second half thing, right?
Mhm.
And then the very next game, the pre-game post, press conference, he lashes out at that reporter for just asking a legit question, like, "Are you going to kind of get more input from your head coaches who have or assistants who have way more experience than you in this position?" And he took it personally. I'm like, dude, you're not, you're kind of like not allowed to do that in your position now, right? Like you have to just swallow your tongue and answer questions smartly. But he's a rookie head coach too with no experience, so he's going to make mistakes like this. It's just a shame that it happened at the end. It didn't happen in the middle, and then he could learn from it. It happened in the end, and now he's got all summer to
Right,
think about this crap, and
right.
people are still going to go at him, and they're still going at him every day now. Um, and it's somewhat justified. I feel it is. Maybe D's a little harsh. Maybe C is
Yeah, I was gonna say a
the
D
better
might
grade.
be, yeah, give him a
Yeah,
passing grade at least because, I mean,
yeah,
obviously regular season and playoffs is completely different. I think, it showed that he was a little desperate and like he kind of wanted to just go out with the guys he could. I mean, starting those five guys the whole entire second half, like obviously even LeBron being tired, it's just he kind of just showed like he didn't really trust anyone else to be out there. And I think
no
the,
one.
the most interesting thing too was in game five, put in Maxi Kleba, like who hasn't
Yeah,
played, in months, just put in
another
him out
weird
there,
move, man.
even just for a
Another
bit.
weird
It
move.
just showed like how kind of desperate we were at the time for a big man and still are going to be, I think Jackson Hayes is a good backup, someone who can get, 10 minutes a game, but I think it's definitely going to be interesting seeing what Palinka can cook up this offseason. Maybe, another blockbuster trade, who knows? I think if we go more the super team route, I think it'll bite us in the back again because it's just the past couple of years. The Lakers need some role players. We need some guys who can come off the bench and score in these biggest moments, and that's kind of what killed us this playoffs. And you
Mhm.
know, we have probably 1 year left with LeBron. So I
That'd
guess
be my guess. That's the way
yeah,
I've thought about it. Yeah,
I guess maybe, yeah.
I think you'll either announce it over the summer
Mhm.
or in am I spacing it?
Like the All-Star break or some like around then.
No, media day. I don't know why I'm
Oh, I
spacing
mean,
on that, but
yeah, sure.
that's what I thought was going to happen this year. I
Yeah,
thought he was going to announce it at media day,
yeah,
because you get all your cameras on, and then you got that news cycle for a
right.
week straight or whatever, or
Yeah,
throughout the whole preseason. But
I can see that.
I mean, there's a lot of synergy, and I think Sham said this the other day too. It's year 23. His number's 23. Like the All-Star game's going to be in LA, not crypto, but it's LA. So it's
Yeah,
going to be all about the Lakers, regardless if it's the Clippers, right?
yeah, definitely.
There's just a lot of stuff that makes sense that could be focused on him. And we all know that's kind of the way he goes about his business. He
Yep,
loves the
yep.
attention. And I think it makes sense, right? Do that, kind of walk out on hopefully good terms and you know, get your jersey and statue in a couple of years, and that's it. Call it a career.
Yeah, call it a career. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate you, man. Don't want to take up too much of your time. Maybe, later into this off season, if we get some big moves, I would love to hit you up again. I will put
Yeah,
all your follow and everything in the description so people can follow you. But appreciate y'all for listening in, and go Lakers.
for sure.